There we go. Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna for class today. I have my two sets of weights. I have a 7 pound and a 3 pound. If you have 5 and 2, or if you have cans of beans or water bottles or something you can heft at some point, it can be helpful. And I have a blanket just for the end to use for a little bit of kind of cool down like things. Yeah, we'll see if we need anything else. Some other tools I sometimes use are an elastic, the TheraBand, um, and I think that's mostly it. We'll do a strap or band work sometimes, but we did some of that on Thursday. Today I'm going to take a little break from that. Worked kind of hard, and my shoulder wasn't so happy, so I need to. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but anyway. So we're going to start with your lighter weights on your feet. And just feeling your feet. I kind of have a medium wide stride here. Just have my lighter weights in my hands. And I'm just going to take this nice and easy, just kind of checking out how I feel. Now, I've already started to kind of pull in my belly a little bit. So you may want to do that too. And let your tail be nice and easy. And I'm just going to come forward with my weights a little bit and see how this feels. So come nicely downward. I'm not even going to go all the way down yet. I'm just going to start this kind of hinge at the back, hinging at the hips. A lot of times I'll turn my body. I don't have two cameras here, so I'll try to give you that perspective. Just my light weights. I've got a little bend in my knees, so go ahead and find that. I'm not trying to stretch my hamstrings out without them getting kind of warmed up. So it's more core actually, and just kind of seeing how this feels. And really feeling your feet, right? Letting your feet, toes spread out, really feeling the feet on the mat or on your carpeting, and then come back to center. Now, you may want to go down to one weight, or you could even use one of your heavier weights. I'm going to take that movement into, again, lots of bend in my knees, a little more movement of a swing, and then come back up. A swing and come back up. A swing and then overhead. So kind of warming up spine, body, but if you're feeling a lot of pull in the legs at all, just bend your knees a little more. Exhaling as I go through the legs there. Go ahead and take it at your pace. Good. And then coming up. So kind of all over, little wood chopper. So you can have those light weights in your hands still if you'd like. Then we're going to take our arms out to the side, circling. Get those shoulders a little warmed up here, going one direction, kind of medium or smaller circles to start. I go the other direction. Now I'm going backward. Again, those smaller circles to start. And walk my feet back underneath. Good. First direction, a little bit bigger now. And I usually slow down a little bit because I'm exploring range of motion. I want to keep this in my shoulders. And the other direction. Second direction, bigger circles. Starting to feel a little bit in your shoulders and your arms. Me too. All right. We're going to keep this a little bit active here at the beginning. in a little bit of cardio way, grab your light weights again, or you can just use your fists as they are. And we're going to take some from the center here, some punches across. Punch, punch, punch. And if it feels like a little bit of a strain on your shoulder, you can punch downward. That's a little bit less work for the shoulder, for the upper back. Or you can kind of do a mix. Go up, middle, middle, down, down. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff going on. This is getting a lot of our core down, down. And you can go at a different pace. My pace seems a little fast or a little slow. You can do what you like. Up, middle, middle, down, down. Let's do one more. Up, middle, middle, down, down. Good. And then coming back here. Good. Checking that out. Little heart rate going. Not too bad. I'm going to grab my chair just for stability. Back of the chair is there, but you could have a wall or the back of your couch nearby. And let's find the feet in parallel, spreading the toes apart and taking those shins forward, heels down. Shins forward, heels down. Get this nice, really pretty high chair pose yet, but working that lower leg, ankle, foot. Getting a little bit of our, getting ready for squatting. Go ahead and pause there. See how that feels. And then shift your weight. One side lifting one heel, other side lifting the other heel. See if you can keep your pelvis at that same height. Go back to the first side. And then second side, both feet down. Go ahead and come up. Okay, we're going to use that same downward movement. We're going to add on. So we're going to go down, come up, lift out to the side, down, come up. I'm going to do the same side just so I don't run into my chair. If you wanted to alternate, you could. A little bit of balance if you need it, or stability with the fingertips on something. Hands could be in genie position, together at your waist, if you wanted to try that. Good. I'm going to do the other one here. Am I freezing up today, or is it just someone else is the question? Hopefully internet is going okay here.
You're good on my end.
Okay, thank you. We'll keep going. So down we go. Thanks for sticking with us through technical issues on either end. Hopefully it'll resolve. Squat, out, squat, out. All right, coming to standing. Okay, I'm gonna take one of my heavier weights, 7, 10. You really could push probably quite a bit of weight here. I'm gonna take my elbows up. Now, if your shoulders don't like this movement, you could keep your lighter weights at your side and work with tricep this way that we probably will do later. I wanted to start out since we're standing and see if we could do an overhead. Lift, lift. And you could have your two lighter weights also and press them separately. I took my heavier one pressing it together. I could do either one. I'm gonna soften my knees, really feel my feet on the floor. Breath comes in. February is coming. Those of you that take classes with me know I like to do fascia in February just because there's alliteration. So, fascia February. We might see if we can use, go ahead and bring your arms down. Might see if we can use a few other props. So I have one of those big foam rollers that Blue Mounds used to have and or Mound Street used to have as well. That's Colette has been doing classes, and I think a couple other teachers do a class with that big foam roller. But I also have a fascia or a kind of a massage ball, and I had a few people I know bought some from me. I'm not really into selling them. I just want to make sure you have stuff like this. This one's a little bit harder one. It's almost like a large racket ball. It's probably, I think it's a 4-inch ball, and it's meaty. It's rubber. But I've also used some that are filled with air, and those work really good too. So just a heads up, going into February for my classes, we might be kind of using some other stuff if we can, but you'll also be able to do it without. Okay, let's take our weights and let's take our feet apart a little bit, turning the toes out, giving ourselves a little smile. Do you know that just smiling, there's stuff that happens in your body, even if it's fake? Even if you're like, I'm not sure I'm there yet, Ingrid. Let's take our weights overhead. Weights overhead. Even the beginnings of a smile sends some different messages into the brain, the body. Happy to be alive, to be able to do these practices, to be able to get online. Grateful for the internet, even if it's a little bit finicky sometimes. And then add a little squat here. Squat, squat. If your arms get tired, go ahead and bring them down. Nice wide squat. Starting to feel my legs warm up a little bit more here. Arms definitely warm here. I've got my lighter weights, but pushing stuff overhead is not something we do that often. Let's even do 3, 2, 1. Bring those weights down if you still had them up. Good. Let's go ahead and take the neck into a chin coming toward the chest position. And earlier we did kind of straight spine stuff. Let's roll a little bit here. Rolling down, rolling down. Letting those weights kind of pull the arms a little bit. Some of you that have long arms like me, you might easily get to the floor. Others of you you might want to just come up so you get that dangle if you do have the long arms. Let the head go, let the neck go, and then pull yourself back up. And then pull the belly in, stack yourself back up, roll the shoulder blades back onto the back. Nice deep breath. Good. So how was that? That first few minutes here, fairly active, a little more aerobic. Go ahead and give me feedback. How does that feel? Was it too much too soon? Was it just right? You like that approach? Let's come down onto the floor. All right, all the way down to the back. Mouth and jaw gets to soften a little bit. I just like to feel my body supported. We did the class on Thursday. It was open chest, broad back. And it was just so nice to come down and let the back be supported. Let the chest be open. And we're going to continue to allow the chest to be open here, bringing our fingers together and behind the head. Can we have that open back, open chest, and have your elbows kind of in the right position? So if I open up my elbows too much, kind of starts to squeeze in my back. If I bring them in too much, my back gets nice and broad, but my chest collapses. So find that just right spot for the elbows as you bring your head up and as you start to roll up. Breath comes in, breath goes out. Breath comes in, breath goes out, and then slowly come back. Good. And we're going to repeat that, keeping the chest nice and broad. All right. Coming up. Finding that spot, chest nice and broad, back is broad. And let's bring one knee up this time, then back down, the other knee up, then back down. Knee comes up and back down, still keeping that broad feeling in the upper body as you come back and rest the head. Let's bring the hands out and alongside the body. And bring the knees up. And then connect the heels, toes spread apart. And then let's reach through the toes and reach through the heels. Reach through the toes, kind of fanning the toes. But I'm still in a Pilates V. I have my feet in a V, connected at the heels, reaching out, and then with the heel. Just really working that lower leg again, the ankle. That's so important to keep our ankles in this nice condition for walking, the spring in our step, so we don't end up shuffling. And so then I'm going to point the toes a little bit, and then I'm going to reach out this time, extending the knees, and then pull back in. Keep that connection at the heels. The more you keep that connection, the harder it'll be. You can push the heels together as much as you'd like. And then there are ways we can kind of up the ante. Right now, my feet are going almost up straight. I can start to diagonal them a little bit. Press out, pull back, press out, pull back. And the more parallel I get, of course, a little bit more challenging. Nice and steady, nice flow. Kind of, I call this in my notes, it's frog legs. And reach out. And pull the knees in. And if you'd like, go ahead and hug the legs in. Full breaths out. Good. And then bring your feet down. Go ahead and bring them into parallel with the hips. So my feet, as far as I can tell, are straight on with my feet, with my hips, with my legs. And then we're going to do a little bit of reach out here, right in parallel. And as though you were going to stand on the wall. If the wall is nearby, you could kind of do that. So don't let your toes pull back so much. In fact, you almost want to find a little bit of rounding for the ball of the foot, and then come back and place that foot on the floor, and we'll try the other one. Reaching out, You can keep the leg on the floor to do this, or you could be just lifted. And I'm just gonna round my foot a little bit. And maybe a better image is to be, so you had to balance on a pole or a dowel with your foot. How would your foot be then? Really a lot of things to investigate there in this position. And then coming back, and we'll do one more on this side. So it's the heels reaching some, but the ball of the foot too. How do we do that? And how does that feel in your arch? Just a little bit of kind of question about that. And as you bring your foot back, how does your foot feel on the floor? All right, so let's bring one leg in. You can let the other leg stretch out or just leave it bent here. And then let's do a little more bend and straighten here for this side. And I'm holding on to that leg, but you don't have to do that. I'm just giving here's a great one for fascia. Speaking of which, we work with fascia all the time in these classes, but I'll be talking a little bit more about it in February. I'm gonna do a heel up, toe reach. Keep my leg kind of straightish. It doesn't have to be completely straight. Work with the ankle here, fanning the toes. We wanna treat our hips, our knees, and we wanna get all these muscles kind of on the same wavelength almost. We sometimes say in our family, get everybody, they're not on my wavelength. If we can't hear someone when they're talking, we don't, just not on the quite the same wavelength. So getting all the muscles on the same page. That we like to move in this nice straight manner with the knee, the hip, and the ankle. Let's try the other side. Wrong frequency. Up and down, whatever feels good for your ankle. Maybe you want to point your toe. Maybe you want to reach through your heel a couple times. Go ahead and let those breaths out. And then the next time you come up, finding a place to keep your foot up and then reaching through the toe and the heel, getting everything in line again. My skiing ankles and lower legs and feet sure enjoy these practices. Doing these couple, 3 times a week, plus the skiing really is kind of a nice deal. So if you're doing some cardio and some of these things really feel good, note to self. Good. Let's bring that foot back down. Hands back behind the head. That idea again of open chest, relaxing the neck, relaxing the head into your hands. That's why your hands are here. So let your hands really help you, especially if you have some tension in the neck and shoulders, really let the head go here. And then bring all of your attention to the ribs, pulling in, and to those muscles working there to help you come up. And how much can you keep all that work right there as you bring your knees up? Still letting the head be heavy. I'm not pushing back into my hands, but I'm really trying to make sure I'm not using my head here until it's necessary. Let's go ahead and do a couple more knee folds. Down, 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 down. Let's do one more set. Tapping and tapping. Both legs come down, upper body comes back. Hands come away. All right, so we're going to try to do, we're going to work on the part of the stomach series, and it involves kind of having a nice straight leg. Again, if your leg is bent, no biggie. You could do the same thing, holding on gently to the back of the leg, but the movement is to switch and pull that leg in, switch and pull that leg in. So now I'm showing you kind of bent knee position. If you wanted to, you could get a little straighter with your legs. I'm not going to come in as far. I can still reach that leg. And you're really going to be able to reach it when you come up with the upper body. So if you come up with the upper body with the hands or without, using the belly to keep you up here, Then straight legs or a little bent. You could take the hands in and we just give a little tug. It's not, again, I want to be very kind to my body, trying to keep everything out of the neck and head. I'm using my neck muscles a little bit, to be honest, but really using my belly to keep those shoulders up. And then using the arms or the legs on the arms to let yourself come back. If any tension came into the neck, just smooth it out. Smooth it down into the collarbones into the chest. That always seems to help a little bit. All right, let's roll onto your side and we're going to come up. I'm going to grab my little bit heavier weights. All right, get that out of the way. All right, I'm going to use the weights here for the row. And a row, you can do different heights of that. Again, I like to keep it kind of low. So these low rows coming forward like we did to begin with our first activity here, and it came forward, right? And we went down with our weights and came back up. This time we're just going to find a good spot to be at an angle, a little bend in the knees, and pull back. Pull, pull. Keeping the elbows kind of tucked in at my sides. If I have lighter weights and this doesn't feel like it's all that much work, I'm going to hang out a little bit further in this up position, squeezing in a little bit and releasing, squeezing and releasing. If you're working with a heavier weight, you won't feel the need because you'll already be pulling that up. You can also slow down your lowering. And then coming up. All right, let's get in a good set of biceps. So while we're here with these heavier weights, another one where I'd suggest take your heavier ones here. Squeeze on the way up. Breath, feeling our feet, a little bit of bend in the knees if you're one that tends to stand really straight. Go ahead and let your knees have a little bend so you can really feel your feet on the floor. I think I even got probably close to the day here in my number of reps, 17, probably pretty close. So I'm gonna let that be the one there. And then I'm gonna give a couple options here. You could keep your weights in your hands. I'm also gonna show it with a little bit of stability help. So if you have a bigger space, you could do these consecutively, kind of walking 3 in front of each and one in front of the other, or you can continue to do them kind of in one space. So we're going to just start with taking one foot back, the other foot forward, trying to keep everything in line. Remember how we were like keeping the foot in parallel, the knee in parallel? It's kind of what we want here. So this lunge, we'll just do a couple here. Couple of lunges. Now, if you've got your weights in your hands, you could do that as well. And a couple lunges here. Good. And then I'm going to switch. So bringing the feet forward and stepping back. Again, alignment. I'm kind of looking. Your biggest thing will be your back heel wanting to kind of come in here. See if you can find it in line. So just like we were earlier, up and down with your lunge. Just a few to get the muscles kind of all in line before we move with it. And that's an option. You don't have to. Yeah, ankles feel this, legs. It's a great one. All right. So now what's it look like if we want to move a little bit? So if I'm using the chair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate. I'm going to take one foot back and then step and then the other one. I've got my weights. You can continue on like that if you're in a smaller space. You could also work with the weights and taking a step, lunge, together, lunge, together. I don't have that much room here to go back and forth, but it's a different practice, certainly, when I go forward. And then if I alternate, that's different too. So it seems like I want to step forward with the same foot every time. What's it feel like to switch? Good. I'm going to do a couple more like that. Just going back and forth. I can only get in 2. And I'm going to try to alternate as I go. Lunge, switch foot, lunge. Even that, some great brain work going. Together, together. All right. A little bit of lunging. Let's go back. Let's do some pulling here. So some more pulling. It's gonna be more of a mid-weight row, I guess. I'm gonna take that body forward, that torso forward. I'm gonna pull here. So my elbows aren't coming straight in by the body this time. And you'll just have to see how this feels for you. Not taking the elbows super in line with my body. They're kind of in that diagonal, 45 degrees. Not right by the body. Trying to keep my head in line with the body. Relaxing the neck. We can do a couple more. 3, 2, 1. And then come on up to standing, chin toward the chest. Roll that down again. Let the weights pull you down. And let your head go. You could put your weights down if you don't want them pulling on the shoulders. If that feels nice, you can leave it. Breath comes in. Good. Go ahead and pick those weights back up, or go ahead and come to a little bit lighter weight. I'm going to try a little bit lighter weight. So what about taking the arms out a little more? I'm standing forward just a little bit, taking those weights out. Now, the further you go forward, the more gravity you have pulling at you. So you can be anywhere along this line. And opening up, back muscles getting that nice work again. Keep relaxing in the upper shoulders and neck, although I'm definitely feeling it there, right? I keep breathing in, breathing out. Nice. And then release. Good. Let's do a shoulder shrug. Say that 6 times fast. Shoulder shrug. Lifting those shoulders up and releasing. Good. And let's bring it one more shoulder thing. This is what we call W's when we were in studio. So W's, opening. Talk about back opening, chest opening. Back opens, chest opens. You could do this without weights. You could add legs if you wanted to, little squats in here. Good. And then coming down with those weights. And then let's get the feet back in parallel. I got my feet even a little bit closer than they normally are. You don't have to, just kind of where they ended up. And let's take that into a nice squat. Earlier, we did kind of a high squat. We're looking for a little bit more lowering of the pelvis, shins forward, knees in line. Sometimes we use that seat of the chair, come down right to it or right above it. So we kind of know how far down am I going? Can I try to reach for that chair? You do it every day, right? And are you muscular during that whole lowering down? Or do you get a certain weight and then you plop? Good. All right. Feeling pretty good? Okay, so let's take it to the back of your space. And a nice deep breath. And let's take that roll down, chin toward the chest, shoulders come forward. Admittedly, we're not keeping the chest super open there. We're just letting the arms come down like we have. Checking in with your roll down and how that feels. I still have quite a bit of bend in my knees. And then let's walk the hands out. So you could come down to hands and knees here, or you can walk the hands out, finding your way to a plank pose. Pressing down through the hands, our first time to really get grounded with the hands. Straight arms here. And then walk your way back. Hands, hands, hands. Again, you can go to your back to your knees for that walking back, and then roll yourself back up. This time, let's take the arms overhead. And then as though you're going to dive forward, let there be like a big space here in front of your belly that you're reaching over. Come all the way forward, walk the hands out. Plank pose. Reach back through the heels. Find your head in line. One of the biggest things I remember seeing is that our head automatically wants to kind of fall forward here. Let it be all those muscles along the back really helping you. Lift one leg up and back down to the floor. Lift the other leg up and back down. And let's walk back. Walking the hands back. Rolling up. Nice deep breath. Full exhale. Let's do one more like that. Taking the arms up. And then, so we're going to dive forward, almost like a diving position. Get this nice pull back in the belly like we do in spine stretch. Walk the hands out. Finding that length through the crown of the head. Reaching back through the heels. Pressing down through the hands. What's happening around the belly area? Knees come down, lower down. Front of the body gets to enjoy the support of the floor. Enjoy that. And then let's, from your feet in parallel, let's go back to and revisit a little bit that foot turned outward. Remember how we did frog legs earlier? The heels were together. So taking just one side, you might have to move your leg out away from you a little bit. See if you can turn that knee out a little bit here and point through your toes. And then if you'd like, lifting that leg up a little bit. Hips are staying on the floor, and it's not very far that I can lift. It might feel a little bit awkward. You might even bring your hand back. Are you feeling some work in your glute? Is it coming all the way into your low back? If it does come into your low back in a kind of a yucky way, back off again how much you're lifting and just work with, and I turn that leg out and lift a little. And notice if you feel it just more than in your glute. When you're ready, we'll go ahead and bring that leg back to parallel. Shake it out. Let all the muscles go. Maybe you were using your core. And then we'll try the other side. Turning that leg out and doing a little lift here. Now for me, one side is vastly different than the other. I'm still able to do it. I'm going to check in again with my low back, with my glute, and see if I have to back off a little bit. But it's not a big movement that we're doing here. Bring that leg back to parallel. Let's bring the arms up today. Bring the arms up. Broaden the back a little bit again. Chest feels fairly broad. I'm going to let those arms come up. If it's comfortable, come up to hover. Breath, breath. And if you'd like, continue to lift through the crown of the head, reaching the crown of the head, get nice and long in the upper body, especially in the back of the neck. If you'd like, the feet might float off. Breathing here. Again, don't let the neck or the head be so heavy for the neck. Let them be in alignment here. And then coming down, go ahead and rest. So maybe that's the head on the hands or on each side of your face. Okay. You're bringing the hands back near your body, elbows pulling in, like the elbows want to be magnetically attracted back behind you. Give that nice length to the back of the neck. Press down to bring your chest, maybe your ribs off the mat, and then come back down. Inhale. Let the first part be extension. Second part, press down. And I'm not getting all the way to the hips here. I'm actually trying to work the arms a little bit. So finding the right spot for my palms right now, finding that work for the upper body and the core, right? Really working my core so that this isn't all taken in my low back. Not all in the low back, pulling the belly in, reaching through the crown of the head, lots of little pieces. Maybe my pelvis comes off, lower back down. Little swan going here. One more. This time we're going to push all the way up to the knees and walk the knees in a little bit. Actually took them all the way to your seat. So from your seat, I'll just do a little, you have to let me know what you think of this later, a little bit of an experiment here. What it feels like to go with our hands behind us here and take our legs to one side enough and lift up a little bit and come back to center and go to the other side and lift a little bit and come back to center. You could use both hands if you wanted to. You can keep it with one hand. Let me know how you're feeling with that movement. So this is a movement that you might do to get off the floor, right? You might come to hands and knees from here, and that's where we're going to head. So I'm gonna move back a little bit and I'm gonna take that movement all the way to hands and knees. Now, what if we moved from here as though we were gonna come down? We just come a little bit, your hip coming down to the floor. Or maybe it's just part way. And what do we do with the feet, right? So kind of working with how much I'm supporting, how much I keep my body on the floor. I could keep all contact throughout, or I could start to kind of come up on my toes and switch and switch. So just spicing it up, finding a couple new things to do all the time. And you can give me the thumbs up or thumbs down later on. Um, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so I want to come down. Here's where you might use your blanket just to support your head. Actually, scratch that. The blanket's here for the next thing. I'm gonna have the head unsupported for right now, but have nice length in the back of the neck. And then open chest, broad back. Again, just letting that feeling, the open chest be there. We're really gonna cash in on that. If we open the chest a little bit more, like I'm gonna show you right now, I'm gonna make a little adjustment. My shoulder blade coming in, I'm actually closing up the back a little bit. But for this exercise, that's kind of what needs to happen. Hands alongside the body. And then let's press down through the feet to lift the hips. Get nice and long in the back of the neck. And reach your shins forward. And then coming back down. You might feel parts of your spine coming back down to meet the floor, kind of rolling down. You might feel kind of the whole spine lift and the whole spine come down. Different ways to work. Hips come up as the feet press down. And this time a little bit of a challenge. If you'd like, shift your weight to one foot, lifting the other heel, ball of the foot, maybe even getting to the toes, keeping the feet in parallel, shifting again, lifting, and coming back down to both heels lift. Imagining how high your knees went and keep the knees that high as you lower your heels. 3, 2, 1, 0.5, 0.25. Finally, my feet are down. I'm still trying to reach my knees up nice and high. How many feel your glutes are really working or your hamstrings are really working with that? Slowly lower down. Release the tail. All right, one more little series here. When we work with bridge pose in the Pilates series, we come up, and one way to work, we've already worked with several of the elements, is to take the weight completely off one side. We did this nice straight-legged thing earlier. You do 3 little lowers here, just even with your knee. And then that foot comes back down. You enjoy having both feet, and you try the other side. This is definitely upping the ante, so don't feel like you have to. Going back to shifting your weight is a great way to continue to work. Come on down. Let's take the feet up. Actually, the knees come in. I'll start there. So the arms come up, the knees come in. I have to work on this one. Arms down, feet go out, arms come up, and then the knees come in. So let me get that for you again. Your feet go out as the arms come up, spread the feet apart, and then the knees come in, arms go down. Hopefully I have that right. If not, It's still kind of a fun exercise, good for my brain. And guess I think this one's called coordination. So out, down, and maybe I don't have it quite right. I'm trying it the other way. Either way, we're getting some great work for our brain to try to put it together. Bringing your feet down. Always things to learn. Good. So now that blanket, go ahead and pull that in. I just like to have a little bit of cush for my head. Come onto your side body. We didn't do a lot of twisting today. Sometimes we get a little bit more with the Pilates work. So let's add a little twist here. Taking that top arm up, looking at the hand, and take your bottom arm to your ribs. So those ribs that are there, that's where you'd like to feel this work. Um, so if you could even give a little push right there at your ribs, notice what happens to your chest. Does your chest open there? And then I don't want too much happening here. So if you feel that your top leg is shifting, see if you can anchor it. Keep it there as your ribs move open a little bit. Your arm just comes along for the ride. Go ahead and take a few breaths into that hand that's at the ribs. Full exhale. And then coming back onto your side. And can you feel your whole body that's on this side? Can you feel the ribs that are on this side, the flank, the belly, the lower leg? And then after you've kind of made that awareness, we'll go switching to the other side. You can likely just roll over. I like to stay a little bit more in touch, looking toward the camera. So let's take the knees together again. Feel this part of the body on the floor, all that contact. And then when you're ready, we'll take that top arm up. And I usually adjust my head to look up. Then we took our hands to the ribs. Kind of aware of the ribs moving a little bit. Kind of not really able to push them, but as I feel an opening or a moving there, and my top leg again nicely anchored. Just going to breathe into my hand. The arms, a little bit of a weight back there, but I'm not letting it completely hang off the body, giving it a little bit of muscular support. Or I'm reaching with the fingertips so that I get that nice support through the reach. One more breath. And then bringing that arm back, feeling my body on this side again. And coming onto your back, and you can keep that pillow if you have it, a pillow or a blanket, and just bring that nice space into the back of the neck as you rest your head so that the chin comes a little closer to the chest. With the head supported, perhaps you feel like your back, especially just below the upper back, can be a little more grounded. So that space that's just below the shoulder blades, the bottom of the shoulder blades, can have a little more contact. So if you would like, bring your awareness to that space. Let your mouth be soft and your facial features be soft. You might experiment with just the slightest smile tugging at the corners of the lips. And then taking in a deeper breath. Full exhale. Maybe encouraging a broader smile. Maybe this position feels really good and you could stay here for a little longer. Feel free to do so. And for those of you that are ready, taking the knees to the side, kind of like we were, rolling to your side, and then pushing yourself up using your arms and hands for that support. Finding your way up. And thanks for joining me this morning for some Pilates, some strength, some movement. And I wish you a very happy week, full of nature walks and cardio and more classes.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Ingrid, I've got a quick question.
Sure, Vicki.
My question is, when we put our hands under our head, and for all the times that we do that, which is a lot, is the goal always to like give our weight to our hands and not be using our neck to raise ourselves up?
Yeah, so it really depends kind of how long you've been practicing. But the idea, if you're supporting your head, is so that you can keep it out of the neck, right? The head weighs however much it weighs, and we can kind of let it be, and let it have that weight. But as we practice, and that's just so we can use our belly, because we tend to kind of old school crunches, right? I think a lot of that probably landed in people's upper chest and neck. So that the goal to start with is give that weight to the head, or that weight to the hands, so we can connect into the ribs, into that knitting the ribs feeling of the core, right? I think once you have that, then we start to take the hands away, and yeah, you are going to strengthen your neck then, because you still have something, you do need to use those muscles. So it's not bad to feel like some muscular work in your neck. That's just at least that's my experience. So yeah, what do you
Thanks.
think?
You never know.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thanks.
Hey,
Yeah,
on
you're
that
welcome.
same note, I've
Yeah.
been having, what I call Hulk neck because of all the Pilates I've been doing. And so yesterday in the half and half with Scott and Colette, I told him about that. And he said the big thing he worked on in his half hour with the balance was to relax your palate. And that really helped he said, get inside your head and relax it from the inside. And that really helped me. So I wrote it down. And then when we were on our feet, he said, root through your feet. And then he would go, relax your palate. And that half an hour practice, really, he kept repeating it because I need repetition. Because when we get into these and we're using the core and you're saying, relax your head and, now pull your knees up and you're like, holy smokes, you got all these things going on. You're really multitasking. It really helped yesterday. He kept saying, relax your palate. And so now he did it so much that it's in my head, because you know, you all those years of practicing, you're right. We put it all in our neck and our shoulders, and that's not good. So I don't know if that will help somebody else, but it really helped me. And it is just retraining our brain, you know.
Yeah,
I,
thanks, Lois. Yeah, that's a great point to continue with the jaw or the palate and how much that might be playing into the tension here. Thanks for bringing that up
yeah,
because
even like you
for
said, do a
sure.
little smile and relax your head into your hands. That all helps immensely. So thanks.
Yeah, the smile even does, doesn't it? I was
Yeah.
noticing for myself, like as soon as I smiled, my between my eyebrows was like softer. I'm like, oh, like this is and it is releasing your palate to
Yes.
smile. Like,
Yes.
oh, it's broad, you know? So yeah. So we were putting it in there even if I didn't know it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Well,
why I
I
wanted you to
did
know you were still nailing it.
I was doing it. Yeah. Thanks, Lois. Thanks
All
everybody
right.
for your comments. And I'm looking at what we did here, some new things. And some people were saying, yeah, we liked that warm up. We liked the tryout from the knees and kind of working in that way a little bit, different movement. Good. So have a lovely day. Glad everybody was here.